So akshara and varna. So that is a preferred word which I would like to use in place of letter. Now there is a difference between akshara and varna also. Now generally akshara, which means what is the etymology of akshara? Kshara means which can perish, which can be destroyed, which can go away. That is kshara, just a kshara. So the last part here in this writing here, kshara. So when we add a, it negates it. So akshara means one which doesn't perish. That is the basic meaning of akshara. So for the sounds which are on the chart of letters here of Sanskrit, we call them akshara because they are supposed to be, there is a philosophical discussion, debate and all that, whether these sounds are eternal or not. So these are considered eternal here. Akshara means they never perish. They always exist. In the universe. I'm going to put, now it's almost 9 o'clock, I'm going to put everybody in the lecture mode. So you won't be able to unmute yourself. So I'll take a break after like maybe 10-15 minutes for questions. If you have any questions, you can type in the chat box, or during the open you should be able to ask. But I would encourage to keep it focused, very much focused on today's topics only. We are not going to talk about sutras and all that. If you have any questions before I put everybody on mute, you can ask it now. For the previous sessions, any questions? Okay, I guess no. So akshara, which means not perishable. So they are supposed to, these letters or sounds which are on the chart of letters here, they are supposed to exist. There is a theory, hypothesis, that they are eternal. So they always exist in the universe somewhere. Somewhere means what? May not be in the audible format. So these are like frequencies, they are energy packets or energies. Energy capsules, can call them. So they all exist all the time. So different. So they are expressed. They come into the state of expression through our speech apparatus. So sometime in one of the classes we talked about the Atma, which can be loosely translated as soul or self. That being, that will instigate that will first decide what to speak and instigate the air, wind, etc. in the body, and then that hits the mouth and then it becomes audible. So this akshara means the one which is perishable in the universe, not perishable in the universe, comes into expressed format through the human speech. So that is the basic concept of akshara. Now akshara, as you see here, a chart of letters which are expressible, which can be expressed through human speech. which means we have the swaras first here, the vowels like e, u. These swaras we saw. These are the pure sounds, pure swaras. E, u. These are the pure ones, and as per the definition, their time factor, the duration for which they are pronounced is 1 matra, and if you double them, they become a, e, and u. These swaras, they do not need help. They are independent. They can be independently pronounced without the help of any instrument, any actuator in the cavity of the mouth, oral cavity. But we'll have to modulate certain actuator a little bit to pronounce these sounds. O is the most natural sound, and A is the duration, double the duration. E, in this, the top flat part of the tongue approaches the talu part. The talu part. So this is the back part almost, and in this area is called talu part. So when we are trying to say E, as in eat, the English word eat, the first syllable here, E, so the talu part tries to approaches that part, approaches, it doesn't touch. Similarly, U, here we are modulating the lips here, protruding, making them round shaped, circular. U. Again, there is no touch anywhere, so that is a, E, U part. Now then, combining these different letters in different proportions, we get the combined or sandhakshara, combined ones, combined swaras or vowels here, A, I, O, O. Combining A and E, we get A. Combining A and E, we get I. Combining A and U, get O. And A and U, get O. So the first part of A or A, it is only like half a matra there. Half a matra. So 1 matra approximately 0.4 seconds or half a second, as per the modern definition or modern approximation, we can take it like. Now moving on to the Vyanjanam or consonants. So here each sound is characterized by 3 different factors. One is position, and second is instrument or actuator, and the effort. Sthanam is the first character or way to categorize or classify a sound. Sthanam or position. The position of what? Position where the air coming out of this oral, the throat, is being contracted or constricted or pressed in the oral cavity. And karanam or instrument is where using what? The actuator or the other part with which the air is being constricted. This is where. Sthanam is the position, is the where the air is being constricted. And karanam or the instrument is with what it is being constricted. Prayatna is by how much. This prayatna is by how much or what kind of effort is being put to produce that sound. Now this, note that for example, we have seen E, right? The vowel E. When we are saying E, we are moving this tongue, the flat part of the tongue, towards this area, talu part. So though there is no touch, it is being moved. So, and last time we started with k, the k letter or k sound, which in English transcription we can write it like this, transliteration. So this is k. The k sound, as suppose it is in cut, the English word k, the first syllable of k. So this one, for this we are using the root of the tongue, and we are touching it against the back of this oral cavity here. So jihva mula, so that is the actuator there, which we are pressing against this upper part of the the upper part of the, or the back part of the upper jaw, upper jaw. So this is like a jaw, right? So this is the root of the upper jaw. So we are trying to touch it there when we say k. So it is not evident probably because it is the both of these, both the instrument and the position where it is touching, they are deep inside the mouth. But if you take some other, let us take some other consonant here, cha. For example, if you take cha, we take cha. So here, when we say a word with say cha, for example, let's say Chandra. Chandra is Sanskrit word, or if I write in English, it becomes Chandra, or the English word say chat, cha. So in this chart, or chalk, something, chalk. So this one, cha, the first syllable is cha. When we try to say that, the top part of the tongue here, flat part, is touching the talo area, okay? The upper back portion of the oral cavity. So that is the talo area. So here, what you see here, the sthanam for a sound is stationary. So whether it is the back part or the top part of this, the talo area, or the murdha area, or this teeth area, though the sthanam is a stationary part, and the karanam, actuator, is the moving part, or the instrument is the moving part, which is, for most part, it is the tongue or jihva, except in few cases. For the most part, it is jihva. Using the tongue, we move the tongue and we use different parts of the tongue either to completely touch or slightly touch or no touch at all, but at least move that part of the tongue towards that area to express that sound, to bring out that sound. The sthanam and karanam. So sthanam is stationary, karanam is moving. And prayatna has a different types of efforts what we need to put with the instrument and the sthanam to produce that sound. So mainly these three characters, they define the pattern or the character of the sound. So positions, 5 positions. So out of these 5 positions in swaras, in when we are talking about the vowels, a, e, u. In this, what are the positions for this? Only for a, there is a throat position, and e, there is a talo position, and u, there is a position of oshtha or lips. And for a, I, o, because they are the combinations of these base vowels, so a, I, the position is kantha and talo, the throat and talo position, and o and au, the position is kantha, the throat and lips, kantha and ostha. So though for kantha, throat, talu, palate, murna, crown. So murna, danta, we are still not encountered or come across when about the swaras we have studied so far. So we'll see them later for other swaras. So for talu, I am using a palate word here. For murdna, I am using the crown, and murdna we'll see in a little bit later. Now instrument again. For pronouncing it's again juffa moolam, the back of the tongue. It's in a very relaxed and natural position. E, we have juffa talam, or it is the top flat part, this part. And then ostha for u. So those are the instruments we have seen so far. Okay. We still haven't used the tip of the tongue in pronouncing any of the sounds we saw so far. So then, moving on to k. So the Vyanjanam, the difference between swara and Vyanjanam is what? Vowel and consonants. The swaras, we do not need the touch, they can be pronounced independently. Whereas Vyanjanam, they need some kind of touch of something, some part in the oral cavity. Now, ka, now these are, I will show you a different chart here, different chart which I just got from Google somewhere. So these vowels are categorized, or they are put into these different classes in a logical way from the way they are pronounced. So if you look at this diagram again, so the air coming out from inside, so the first place where we can stop it is here, and the next part is here, the next part is here, and next part is here, next part is here. Though in theory or practically also you may be able to stop it at any other places, like somebody can say you can do it here also. Yeah. I mean, this is a broad area, it is possible, but generally these areas, around these areas, it becomes clear to pronounce. Okay? Pronunciation becomes clear. That is where they are defined in the Shiksha Granthas as these places, and those using those instruments. Now the chart itself is chart of sounds here is put here, classified. Yeah, somebody says, can I zoom in? Let me try. Zoom. Oh, I think I had it. Zoom it. Yeah. Yeah, this is a little bit blurry. But this is the, I did a quick search today. I could find only this with the proper, the correct transliteration and properly put into rows. So, yeah, this we have studied already. I, E, U, and A, O, I, O. This line will come to this line later. Now, the first line here is produced by touching the sthana. The position for this is the kantha here. Okay? This part. This part, back part here. that is a sthanam, that is the first row. How they are to be pronounced, we'll see one by one. But this is just an overview how they are ordered here, how they are. And the next row here, which is called palatals, the sthanam, the position where the air is stopped, is this area, the next area, palatal area. Okay, the palatal area is this one. It is stopped with some instrument, the part of the tongue. And the next one, the next line, where is the next line? Yeah, this next line, which is called cerebral here, the sthanam, position where it is stopped, where the air is stopped, is this area, the brownish area, or here. And then the dental line, the line here called dental, for that the position is the back of the upper teeth, the front upper teeth. Okay. Back of the front upper teeth. So that is the position for the dental line. Now, the last, no, not the last one, labial. Labial is the lips, something related with lips. The stop is the lips. The air where the air is stopped is the lips, the sthanam or the position lips for the labial line. So where is the position here? I mean, obviously, we have to close the lips to stop the air there for the labials. Now, semivowels. Semivowels and sibilants, they are like they are, for a reason they are called semivowels. They are not semi. Semi means half. They do not have complete full stops like the first 5 lines, but they are half. And sibilants also similar. So we'll look at them after we look at the first 5 lines. So as you see here, these are the consonants have the first 5 lines, at least if you focus on that. They have 5 columns also, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 lines, 5 columns. So that makes it 25 in this 5 by 5 matrix. And there are additional, there is one more at the bottom. Yeah. Additional, there are 9 at the bottom. But first, let's focus on these first 25 consonants here. What are their characteristics? These 25. Now, sthanam, we kind of know now. For each line, we know the sthanam, which are defined here. Velar, which is the throat. Kantha. Sthanam is where air is stopped. And palatal, the palate area. Cerebral, the next area. And the dental, the back of the upper teeth. And then this labial, lips. These are the places where the air is stopped. Now note the difference here. Now, the difference between vowels and these stops positions here, these consonants. So for also, for the swara the sthanam, we are saying it as kantha or throat. So and E, the short E and the long E, the sthanam we are saying as the talo area, this area. This area we are calling for or A, and this one for E. And this area also we are saying the first line of the consonants. So for example, the first line, the one we saw, the K, and this one, Talu area, the first letter there in that Talu one, if you see, it is Ch. The Ch is written like this. Ch as in chart or chalk or champion. So that one, if you see, that is the same position as E. So what is the difference between these vowels and this consonant here? So the position is same and the actuator is also same. The actuator, the instrument for these positions is same, because we can hardly, we may try and then may be possible to use other parts of the tongue to, for example, we can use the tip of the tongue to touch this talu area, but it is difficult. So naturally what is possible is the top flat portion of the tongue. So that can easily go and touch the talu area to produce the sound cha. So note that the difference is very clear. When we want to say E, like an eat, and when we say champion, so if you notice, the difference is with E there is no touch. The air passes freely between the talu area and the top flat portion of the tongue, that actuator. But when we say cha, it is touching, though it feels soft there, because this part is soft and this part is also soft, the jihva, the tongue. So there is a touch, there is a full stop. The air is being blocked there. Whereas for E, when we are saying E, the air is not being blocked. The air freely passes through. So when we say champion, when we say the first cha, the air is blocked. Now, similarly with the K also, the and K, the position is defined as kantha or throat, and the actuator is the same. Actuator is the back of the tongue, which is called jihva moolam, or the root of the tongue. Now, when we are pronouncing the vowel, it is not blocking. The air has to flow freely. But when we say K, it does touch. It has to block the air there. So that is the difference between the vowels which are having the same position, and the consonants having the same position. Position is same, but there is a free flow in case of air in case of vowels, but there is a stop, complete stop in case of this pronunciation of the consonants which fall in these first 5 lines here. So that's why they are called stops in English equivalent. They are called stops, or I also seen in some books they are called plosive. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Plosive, plosiv, plosive, and then stops means the air is completely stopped. And in Sanskritam, they are called sprushta. Sprushta literally means one which needs touch. So the instrument has to touch the position to block the air. So in case of vowels, there is no touch. So they are asprishta, or no touch. Against this means is added to the sprishta to negate the meaning of the sprishta, asprishta, and sprishta is touch. So in case of vowels, no touch, at least the ones we have studied, a, e, u, a, o, I, o, no touch, asprishta. Whereas these first 5 lines, they need touch, complete stop. So for example, k, we have this like cut, cha, like champion, ta, like something like tomato, ta, the first. Again, the English words are just approximations. They may not exactly sound the same. But where to touch, the sthanam will look at them, but I'm just giving examples here. For example, like tomato, or dental ta, like a throw, or then, the, ta, or the, similar to this one, the. And the labials, which needs the closure of the lips here. So, for example, pa, like pull, pa, or pita, pa. So to say pa, the lips have to close. So there is a closure or touch to stop the air. To pronounce the first 25 consonants. So I'll stop here for a few minutes. Let me check the questions. I don't see anything in the chat. Anybody want to ask any question? You can unmute and ask the question.
Sir, for Sanskrit sound equal to F, F for father. When we say F, there is no actual closing of lips comes, just like pa, ba, ma, al. But for F, it is something looks different, isn't it?
Yeah, so that we'll discuss later when we look at each line.
Okay.
Sanjeev ji?
Yeah.
For the cerebrals, do we use the tip of the tongue or the flat part of the tongue?
Yeah, we are going to look at each line separately. I mean, this is not the end of it.
Okay, thank you.
So far, the concept was like, so far we just studied what is sprishta, the touch, and the stops,
okay,
and no stops. So in this part, I think that's clear, right?
Yeah, it's clear, sir.
So also, let me continue. So also note that there is some regarding consonant, another thing that we need to know. The consonants need the help of a swara, vowel, to pronounce. They cannot be pronounced independently at all. When we are writing, as you see the chart here, ka, kha, ga, gha, etc., there is a at the end here. There is a. It is just not ka. So when we say KUT, cut, or KING, king, that ka, the first one, without that the vowel part added later, like added in the cut, and here E added, so we say king. So it is not possible to pronounce just the K. So however short we can try to stop K, or we can even try the other way. We can try some words like in Sanskrit there are many words which are ending in consonants. Like for example, what is ending in K?
Walk.
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 Yeah, yes, good. Walk. Walk ending in K. Any word in English? A chalk. Let's say chalk.
Talk.
Yeah, talk is good. Talk or chalk. So these one ending in K here, which is consonant K here. The consonant K's, the pure consonants are written with the slant line at the bottom, as you see here. If it is having a O inside it at the end, it is written as K here. This is in Devanagari script. In different script, it can be written differently. But in Devanagari script, the sound of K with O added to it, so that it can be pronounced, is written like this. But if it is a pure consonant, pure Vyanjanam, then there is a slide for writing purpose, there is a line added at the bottom. So this walk, so here when we say walk, there is a short O at the end. So what that means is, for consonants, the consonants in their pure forms cannot be pronounced. They cannot be pronounced on their own. They are just the stops, or they are just the touch between the sthanam position of the defined position of their sound and the actuator. They are just the interaction between them. But to bring them out, to express them, we need the help of the swaras. Then only they can be brought out, pronounced. For example, even if when you say k or ch at the top, there is when the top of the tongue, when we say ch, when it hits the talu part, it is hitting there. But then it is releasing that there. Ch. So the is released. So to release that, the sound of the consonant, the vowels are needed. So this is something which has been clarified in our Shiksha Granthas also. So these consonants are there, but they cannot be pronounced. They do need, whatever short portion is there, to release the sound of these consonants. Some help of some vowel is needed. Not always word doesn't need to be there. For example, we have king. In the king, there is the help of I is there. E is there, and to pronounce king, ki. So in that example, ki, when we say ki, the back of the tongue touches their throat inside, and then the E is pronounced to release that sound. Ki. Now, how much, again, if you dig deep into it, again, there is an attempt to define how much portion of that should be there, or when we say K, how much portion of or the vowel should be included with the Vyanjana part, that is also there is also discussed in the Shiksha Granthas. For example, when we try to say vak here, vak, so they generally loosely, in some of you might have found somewhere that the Vyanjanaka, or without adding a after that, the Vyanjanams are to be pronounced half matras. That you might have found somewhere. Some of them they find that. So the vowels, they need one matra, and Vyanjanams are half matras. Vyanjanam, ardhamatrakam, so somewhere you may find that. However, that ardhamatra also is not pronounceable there. When we just say ka, I mean, this is also further explained in the Shiksha Grantha. This ardhamatra also is not completely that ka. In that ardhamatra also, when we say ka, when we try to say vak, at the end there is a ka, and we are trying to say the Vyanjana part there, but since Vyanjanam can never be pronounced independently, the a will come out to release that sound of ka. So when we say vak, we are not pausing there for one matra, just like when we are saying ka. When you say complete ka, it sounds like one matra. Or, for example, when you say e, it's like one matra. But when we are trying to say vak, then we are trying to stop there abruptly, vak. So we do not want to elongate it for one matra, and we are trying to make it half matra, half the full duration, vak. So in that, the definition goes like 1/4. Half of half matra belongs to this swara, and the other 1/4 remains as the actual Vyanjanam there. That doesn't mean this can be pronounced independently. So we need at least half matra to bring out anything like vak, and in that, half of that does belong to this swara. So this is something interesting to know. When we generally find that half matra is Vyanjanam, we should not think that half matra is allowed for Vyanjanam. In that half again, 1/4 or the half of half is the swara itself. So just to note here one thing, that all the consonants here in the chart of letters, when they are shown, they are shown with the addition of a at the end for the purpose of pronunciation, ease of pronunciation. Otherwise, they cannot be pronounced. So this is the Devanagari representation, and also you see the transcription in one standard of transcription. There are other ways also. That this is a different standard. So this is basically Aksharamala. Okay. This is Aksharamala. Why do we call it Aksharamala? Aksharas are not perishable, and Akshara is basically defined now. Perishable, not perishable, that is a different discussion. But Aksharas here, they are actually, as per the definitions in our Shiksha Grantha, they are basically syllables. So A, and these swaras, which are on the top here, they are definitely called Aksharas, the top part. And since these also have the swaras at their end to pronounce, they are also called Akshara. So independently, just the Ka is not technically called Akshara. It's a Varna. Varna is different, Akshara is different. So all of these are Varnas, but these are Aksharas, and these consonants, along with their O part at the end, they are aksharas. So otherwise, if without the akshara part, without the vowel part at their end, without which they cannot be pronounced, they are just the varnas, varna. So technically, this is not a varnamala. This is aksharamala. Generally, if you search, everywhere you say varnamala. So varna is very loosely used. But if you see technically, this is aksharamala because there is a vowel added to these consonants which make them akshara or expressible, pronounceable. Varna, which I can write it here for some of you. Varna, what is the literal meaning of varna? Just like literal meaning of akshara is non-perishable. Varna means color. So, literally it means color. And in Sanskritam, color means the character actually. The guna, swabhava, or the basic character of anything is called varna. So, for example, we generally talk also, right? And when we say, now I know your color. What does that mean? Means what you actually intend inside. What is your base, the intrinsic character that I know. So to express that, sometimes we use that phrase, right? Now he shows his true colors, like that. So this is very similar to that. Varna, color, means its intrinsic character or nature. Yeah. So when we say ka varna, ka. So here we are talking of consonant here, without addition of any vowel to it, without an expression. This is the very intrinsic base character. So when we try to say ka with our tongue touching the back of the throat, when we say ka there, so ka, the sound is being produced, and as soon as the sound is generated, a is added to it. The very intrinsic nature of that is just ka. Though we cannot pronounce it independently, but there is a character of ka there. So that is varna, or the color. That is the true character of that, or without you or with you. So that is the true character, true nature of that sound, just the ka. That is why it is called varna. Now that another next question comes here. When we cannot pronounce it, how do we refer to it? That's the next question. Because if you just say ka or cha, ta, then what it actually means, we are not actually referring to it as ka sound or cha sound. When we say ka, for example, somebody asked me, how do we pronounce ta? With what of the tongue ta we should be pronouncing? So when we are trying to ask these technical questions, when somebody refers to the sound ta, so they are actually referring to it as ta with o there. Right? When somebody asks, how am I going to pronounce ta? Then I will have to first answer that how the consonant part of the ta is pronounced, and how the a part of the sound is pronounced, because just saying ta has two parts, ta and a. So to make it more precise technically, how do you refer to the only the consonant part or the varna part or the basic sound part, intrinsic base sound part of the t sound or ch sound? For that, the Shiksha Granthars, they come up with some they have given us something called kara. Or kara. Kara, if you add it to some, like for example, when I say ka kara, when you say ka kara, that means I am referring to the consonant ka part, okay, without adding any vowel to it. If I want to ask question about, in the discussion we want to use just the k, the Vyanjana sound part of k, then we can refer to it as adding kara, ka kara. Similarly, if I want to refer to the ch part of the sound, so I will say ch kara. Ch kara. That means, so now it is easy and becomes very precise about what I am talking about, what sound I am talking about, what sound you are asking about. Yeah. So when I say to pronounce pakara, I am not going to say to pronounce pa. To sound pakara, what is the sthana of pakara? What is the sthana of position of kakara? What is the position of takara? Like that. That means we are asking about, and we are talking about the consonant part. And obviously this kara can be used with vowels also. Kara just means the sound part. So akara, akara, ikara, ikara, etc. So this kara has become very handy. It's good to use it to refer to the sound part. Any question here? So akara, akara, ikara, rukara, ikara, okara, anything kara can be used. That means that akara means a sound, okara means o sound, kakara means k sound, k, that only the Vyanjana part, just the base part without adding any vowel. Okay. Now, one more thing we can relate to now. So now we know that the vowels we have studied so far did not require or do not require any stops or touch. That's why they are called asprishta. And then the consonants, the first 25 here, ka, in this series, they need touch of the actuator to the position, and they need to be stopped. The air needs to be stopped. So these are called sprushta. Now this sprushta and asprishta, the sthana and karana, we know that sthana is a position where the air is at least there is a effort to constrict it, and the actuator is with what the effort is going to be made. to constrict the air. And now the effort itself is the sprushta and asprushta. The term we used, sprushta, that is stop. This is one of the efforts, because that touch effort has to be made, the stop effort. So the third characteristic that has been listed here what happened? So here you see the third. So one was position, the other was instrument, the third one is effort, or prayatna. So the one we talked about, sprushta, it needs the touch effort, which is a stop in English. So that is one of the type of efforts here. So different types of efforts are there. So one type of effort is this sprushta, or the stop. And where there is this effort is less, that is asprushta. There is an effort, but when we try to say O or E, there is an effort, but the actuator does not actually completely stop the air there, but it moves towards that area, narrowing that air flow. So there is some effort there. So, but the effort required is the effort of touch itself does not happen. But that is a second type of effort. So where the touch is not needed. So where the air flow is completely kept open, like A, A, E, U. What are these? The airflow is kept open. This type of effort is called, what is it called? Vivrata. In Sanskritam, it's called Vivrata. Did I write it? I think I wrote it somewhere here. Yeah. So here you see Vivrata with the transliteration. Vivrata, or open. So when we say A, A, E, U, A, I, O, that is Vivrata, because the air is not stopped. And for sprushtas, this is the first one here, sprushtas, which there is a stop or contact, that is another type of effort. And so now we are familiar with two types of efforts. When we, at least with this example, ka or cut in the word cut, or kamala in Sanskritam ka, the first one kamala ka. So there the tongue at the back touching, there is a stop. So there is a sprushta effort. So two types of efforts are familiar now. One is vivruta, which is open. Another is stop, sprushta. So now looking at the first line, let's say Velar, or in Sanskritam they are also called Kanthya. Based on the sthanam or position, again remember what is the position? That which does not move, which is stationary, against which the air is being constricted. So based on that position, the consonants are put into these 5 lines here. First one is the sthanam, position is kanthya or throat. So the Shiksha Granthars, many of them, assuming that most of us are familiar with these pronunciations, they use these words loosely. For example, this Panini Ashtadhyayi, for his Vyakarana purpose, he states this first line is Kantya. But Kantha, for everything there is a Kantha, right? Everything has to come out of Kantha, throat. So the other Shiksha Granthas, they are going to define it as Hanumula. 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 If I write it in English. Oh, sorry. Hanumula. Now, what is Hanu? Hanu literally means jaw. And Mula means root. Like we have Jufa Mula, which is the root of the tongue. Like that, Hanu means jaw. Mula means root or the origin. Now, Hanu Mula is the jaw, which they are saying that this for the first line here, ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. For the first one, velar ones, the origin or the sthana position is Hanumula, which is the upper root of the upper jaw, which kind of makes sense rather than a Kantha, like this portion here. And the instrument is Jihva Moolam, that is the root of the tongue, which when the air is stopped there, these different sounds in the first line of that chart is produced. That is here, this may be better to look at. So here, if you see here, the first line, this line, is produced when the air is stopped at that position there with the Jihva Moolam. All right. Now for the next line, cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. These are also all sprushtas, or they need contact or complete stop of the air. And what is the sthanam, talu, palate position? Like we saw, for example, trying to utter the word chalk or champion or chandra or chamasa. The position is talu part and instrument is Jufa Adalan, the top flat portion of the tongue. And next line, this one, ta, tha, da, dhana. Ta, tha, da, dhana. On this chart, they are shown as cerebrals, and the position is murdna, which is this part. It's called crown, and the instrument is Juvagram. Juvagram pariveshtitam. Juvagram, agram is the tip. Now, agra, in this case, is a tip, Juvagram, the tip of the tongue. Pariveshtitam means what? It is rolled. And other Shiksha Granthas define this even clearly. Rolled and from the back side of that tip. So here what we are going to do, when we say ta, tha, or say just stick to the ta there, first column. This first column, the first letter here, ta. I think this is the one which is kind of challenging for people not knowing any Indian language. And these are really a bit hard, I think. So if you go to this diagram again, so the tongue is going, the tip of the tongue is going to pointing forward here, and it is going to roll back. It's going to roll back, and with that rolled back tongue, from the back side of the tip of the tongue is going to hit this crown portion. The question again comes here: what is the crown portion? Murdha. Now, this is where sometimes the problem comes, that murdha. Many times they just look at the dictionary meanings. Murdha means head. So the dictionaries, they show that murdha is head, or the top part. So that literally taking that, what is the top part here? So it shows here. We are going to call it murdha. So try to, if you really try it, it is possible to produce that sound. Top goes there also. But this has been analyzed quite well in the Shikshaa Granthars and by other authors also. And murdha, this word has different connotation here. It's not literally head or top, the roof or something like that. So there are because some of these authors are calling this dhana, these came into the Sanskritam in a different way, in the Sanskritam language, these sounds from different origins. So this murdha was coined later. So anyway, so the murdha is where inside the oral cavity, it starts to bend. It starts to bend a little bit. Yeah? It starts to come down a little bit. So you have this where the teeth are seated here. The teeth, what you call gum. So just above the gum, there is a gum socket is there, and above that the curvature starts. So you can use that curvature as a murdha portion to hit the tip of the tongue there. Now this meaning of murdha has been interpreted as in various ways, that portion, because when we hit that area of the oral cavity with the back of the tongue, when we say ta, it's very strong pronunciation is there. It's a very strong sound. Ta. Your whole head gets that feeling, the vibration. Ta. Whereas cha is soft. Cha is softer. Acoustically, it's softer. Whereas when you hit that ta, it is hitting your entire head. Yeah? That may be the reason why it's called murdha there. Anyway, so ta, the first letter we saw there, as when we said talk. Again, the English equivalent may be different. There may be some element of some other word, like ha element could be there in this, like talk or like that. But in this, when we are saying any Sanskritam word, we should not mix up these sounds with other sounds which are not intended here or not spoken about here. We are not going to add her sound here or the breath here. It should be just ta, and when we touch the portion of the tongue intended for that is the instrument, to that oral area of that oral cavity, that is sthanam, that sound has to be produced, and to release that sound, the additional swara or the vowel needs to be added to it. So in this case, we are just saying ta. In that case, when we hit that back portion of the tongue, rolled to that, the upper portion just above the socket of the tooth there, quite is not the socket of the, just still above, quite just like tiger, a tiger, for example, tiger. So that should not be combined with any other consonant or breath, etc. It has to be pure t, just with the vowel following it.
Can you please repeat where the t sound comes from in the mouth? I'm sorry, missed that.
T in sound, the position of T sound is murdna. As the word is murdna, the position. And in English it is also called cerebral, or it's also called retroflex. Retroflex has a different, why it is called retroflex has a different reason, but the position and the instrument is, position is this part. So we have this taller part where if you say champion, champion, where the tongue touches this part here on the top, that part is called palate or talu. Then let's come to danta. So danta is the upper part of the teeth, back part of the upper teeth. Where you say, for example, then, the part, then, de. When we are going to touch, at least as per the Sanskrit Shikshaa way, the tip of the tongue, the euphogram is the tip of the tongue, needs to touch the back of the upper teeth. Then there. Now, so we know this back of the upper teeth, this position, which is called danta here. Danta means not all the teeth, just the front upper teeth. And then we know the position for champion. Now, in between there is another position, another area between say cha and the. Now, where if you, I'm just approximately drawing this line in this line in the mouth, and then it starts to curvature here, and then there is a teeth here. So this curvature, or rather a little bit here, this is the best position. But actually you can produce that sound with this area. You can little bit change the position of the euphogram with rolled tongue. Tongue can touch here also. It can touch here also. It can touch here also. So you can produce a similar sound here. So that is the murdna area. Ta here. Ta. But it should not come near the teeth. But once it comes near the teeth, then the back portion of the tongue, tip of the tongue, cannot touch there. So because it tends to become straight, the tip will become straight here. As you move the tongue up and up here, so this area, ta. Okay.
Yeah, that helps. When you use talk as an example, I got confused because I don't think the t in talk is in the same place as what you're describing.
Yes.
Right. So okay. Thanks.
I'm not sure. I'm not completely read about the English pronunciation, but I think the English ta, when they have the ta word, that is somewhere here.
Mahodaya, the word 10, number 10. I think that is the cerebral position when you say 10.
Yeah, but there is some, for me and for most of the Indians, we say 10 differently. They say there's a ha, some as you are also saying with some 10 there, 10.
Like Vittal, that
yeah,
10.
like tha. That tha is different. This what the 10 is somewhat different.
Okay.
So there the 10 is mostly, I think, the tip of the tongue is used instead of the back of the tip of the tongue. Yeah? So when you're saying tha is mostly tip of the tongue, that 10. But here we are defining ta as roll the tongue and use the back of the tip to produce the ta sound, where we do not want that her portion, her factor.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I can say in English the word that can be used closest to the sound of ta is maybe temple. Temple we come close to.
Yeah. Temple. Yeah, we use this word which is defined like this. I mean, sound which is defined like ta here, takara, ta. But even if we hear somebody non-Indian speaking temple, that temple is different. That ta is different. At least to ta. Mostly it is. I think it is tip of the tongue rather than the back side of the tip. Okay, so the next line here, dentals. Here also, the as we just discussed, we will look at the columns. I'm purposely not taking up the columns for now. Just focusing on the first letter here with understanding the position for sthanam. And how are these different columns, how they differ from the first column, that we'll see a little later. So now the first dental here, dental sthanam. Sthanam for ta. This line is dental, which is dantaha. We saw dantaha here. Dantaha is the back of the upper teeth, back of the root of the upper teeth. And instrument is juhagram, or tip of the tongue. Here there is no rolling. So we are just taking the tongue and touching the, with the tip we are touching the back side at the root of the tongue there. The example for this word in Sanskritam is what is the example? Takra or tatra. Tatra. Ta, the first syllable here. So in English, is there any word with the?
Throat.
the river Thames or Thames Shikshaa.
Hmm?
Talp. Talp.
What is it? Talp?
Mm.
In English?
Yeah, or thorough.
What is the spelling?
Thorough.
No, in English word. I'm just trying to come up. Yeah. Thorough.
Thunder.
Yeah, they all have the ha in it. Thunder, thunder. So I'm not sure there is any pure word with the sound of ta without involving ha in it.
Tug. Tug.
Tug,
Tug. Tug.
thug.
No, thrice. THRI without any.
Yeah, that is how some of us pronounce without ha. But I think the Uma or others can work for that.
Trilok.
No word.
No word. I have not found any word with just the ta.
Tape, T-A-P-E.
Hmm?
Tape, T-A-P-E.
Tape. Yeah, I mean this sounds like the murdhanya or this ta for us, for me at least. Ta, tape with the tongue rolled. Ta. The for ta, we are not rolling the tongue, we are touching here. So if I say that with the ta here, I am going to say tape, not tape. Tape, tape, tape. So, but this word in English, I say it as a tape, ta, ta, where I am putting the rolled tongue here. Tape, like talk, talk. So tape and talk are same to me. But if I am going to use this sound, where I have to touch the tip of the tongue behind the tooth here, upper teeth, then I am going to say ta, tape, talk, ta, talk. Anyway, so
How do you pronounce crown and spell it in Sanskrit?
which one? Crown?
Crown, yes.
With this crown?
No, it looks like Mudhan something, but I can't make out the Sanskrit for crown.
Murdna, like this one you're saying?
The one to the left of where you just underlined. It's Mudhan something.
Murdna, Murdna. I wrote it in English here. M-O-O, Murdna.
Thank you.
Mini is only the top part is Murtha, Murthao.
So
that's a retroflex N on top, right? Of the ah sound. Okay. I didn't understand what that letter was. Thank you.
okay. So once again I'm clarifying, when you do not translate these words as top parts or head part, because that is not the real meaning here. So we will have to just understand that is the area between where the cha is pronounced, the talu, and where the ta is pronounced, this portion, there is a between. So here it is actually curving there. So this curve part, this area is mudna. So if you just say top part, head part, it means here, which is not correct. Okay, so coming to the next line. So dental, that is clear, I guess, because the actuator and the positions are very clear there. Position is behind the upper teeth, the root part of the teeth, and the actuator is the tip of the tongue, straight. And then we have labial. Labial is the stop here is the lips, okay? The last line. In this it is this one. So if you take the first example, pa, okay, as in the Sanskrit word pata, pata, or in English word pot, okay, that first syllable pa. This one should be clear. The position is lips, ostha, and instrument is also lips. There is no jufa because we are not using any part of the tongue to stop the air here. We are using lips only to stop the air. And where the air is being stopped? At the lips only. Okay. Pa. Pa. Now, some of the, if you want to be very technical and go on to deeper and analyze and then stick to that analysis, then some of the Shikshaa Granthars, they say that these lips, the upper lip is the sthana and the lower lip is the instrument, actuator. So technically, I mean, you can argue that we are moving both the lips when you say pa, but that's how, and by keeping the upper lip stationary and just using the lower lip to force the air, stop the air at the upper lip can also be tried, up, up, but mostly the lower lip moves because lower jaw is movable. Pa. Pa. Yes, when you say pa, you start with the air is coming in, coming out, up. But with the initial O we are not pronouncing when the air is coming out. We are not doing any sound. And when the lips are closed, from there we open it. Then we say O, right? Pa. When the lips are closed, the sound of pa has started there already. That is a pa kara, sound of pa. That kara we used like earlier. Pa kara. Pa kara means sound of pa has started there. And then we are adding a to it to release that pa sound. Pa, pa, pa. So when you say pa, you see that the lower lip is moving. So that's how the different definition goes. The sthana is the upper lip and the instrument, actuator, is the lower lip. I'm going to stop here. I think there are some questions in the chat. One second.
धन्यवादः महोदय.
धन्यवादः भगिनी.
धन्यवादः.
धन्यवादः महोदय.
Are you all dropping out?
No questions. धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद महोदय.
Yeah, धन्यवाद. So we'll meet next week. If there are any questions, if you have any questions, you can stay back.